Good morning, 8th grade. It's Miss Roberge here. I'm here to talk about Investigation 1 from Unit 4, number 4.2, and then within that are number 7, 8, and 9. I just want to tell you guys, I love these kinds of problems. I think they make a lot of sense. They're really straightforward. We just have to figure out the results. This isn't so bad. We're going to get through this, okay? All right, let's look at 4.2, number 7. Elena and Jada each make money by helping out their neighbors. Elena babysits. Her earnings are given by the equation y equals 8.40x, where x represents how many hours she works and y represents how much money she earns. So this is just telling you that this y is her total earnings, and when she multiplies her hourly rate by the number of hours, she's going to get her total from here. Scenario 2 is Jada. She earns $7 per hour mowing her neighbor's lawn. Who makes more money after working 12 hours? How much more do they make? So since X represents how many hours they work and Y represents their total, we will set up the equations like that. So we don't know Y yet. Remember that. $8.40 times 12 hours, and then Y equals 7 times 12 hours. So this was the amount of money each girl makes. Sorry, just the 7. And this was the number of hours that they worked. So all we have to do is multiply. So right here, we do 8.4 times 12, and we get 100.8, but we know this is money, so we have to add a 0 there. So that means the first person's making $100.80. And right here, we just have to do 7 times 12, and we get $84. So now we have the totals that each person makes, but there's a second part to the question. It says, how much more do they make? So we have to go back and do 180 minus $84. 80 minus 0, that stays there. I'm borrowing. 10 minus 4 is 6. 9 minus 8 is 1. 1680. So now I have my work. I know that I know that my first person here is Elena, and my second person here is Jada. And I also know that Elena makes more. That's bigger than that, right? And this is how much more she makes. So make sure you write all of that into the answer correctly. Explaining how you know. Showing your work for this would really help explain how you know. F says, what is the rate of change for each situation and what does it mean? So remember that a rate of change is when you do your So if we look at our data here, we got, this is our Y value, right? And this was our X value. So let's try, wrong way, sorry about that. 100.80 divided by, what was our X? 12. And when you do that on the calculator, you would get 840, which is a familiar number because it's right here. So the rate of change is the amount that each girl makes per hour. So for E, it's 840, and for J, I'm just abbreviating their names, it's 7, and that is their hourly rates. Make sure you understand that, okay? G says, how long would it take each person to earn $150? Well, $150 would have to be our total then, which means that in this case, the 150 is equal to your Y value. So we have to start with that. We have to start with 150 equals, for Elena, 840x. So we're figuring out what the x is, and the x is equal to the amount of hours. How many hours does she have to work, and multiply times that hourly rate of 840 to get to 150. Well, in order to figure this out, all I have to do is divide each side by 840, because I have to do the opposite. 840 divided by 840 cancels out. 150 divided by 840 equals, I have to use a calculator for this one, approximately 17.86. So that would be 17.86 hours, okay? I'm going to do right over here in this little box the same thing for Jada. So I start with 150 because that's my Y value of the total that she's making, equals 7x. $7 per unknown hours. If I divide each side by 7, I'm going to get how many hours she has to work. So 150 divided by 7 is approximately 21.42 hours in order for Jada to make $150. Remember, right here is Elena's. All right, let's move on to number 8. Han and Claire have summer jobs stuffing envelopes for 2 different companies. Han earns $15 for every 300 envelopes he finishes, and Claire's earnings are on this table here. Now, who would make more money after stuffing 1,500 envelopes? How much more money would they make? Explain how you know. So I think, because we just talked about number 7, that we should actually do I first, because that would help us do H. What is the rate of change for each situation, and what does it mean? So remember, we just talked about this, Y over X. Just so you know, some lines are not perfectly proportional, and eventually you won't be doing just plain Y over X. But once we get to that, we'll talk about it. So this is X, this is Y. Let's do it. 40 over 400 equals, we're going to get a decimal. I can see that already. 40 divided by 400 equals 0.1. That's to go with this table. Sorry, I did not say that clearly. What that's telling us is that Claire is making 0.1 of a dollar, which is 10 cents, per envelope. Okay? That is the rate of change for Claire's situation. Han, let's look at Han. This is his X. This is his Y. 15 over 300 equals 0.05. So this is 5 cents. This is 10 cents. So right off the bat, I'm going, I want Claire's gig. She's making more money. So that means the rate of change for Han's situation is 0.5 cents, or 5, I'm sorry, I said that terribly, 5 cents per envelope, okay? So that's to answer I. H says, who would make more money after stuffing 1,500 envelopes? How much more money would they make? Explain how you know. So we have to figure out who would make more money. So we're trying to find the Y for both situations. That's the total money. And now for Han, he makes 5 cents, and he's going to stuff 1,500 envelopes. For Claire, she makes 10 cents, And she's going to stuff 1,500 envelopes. Now remember, when you see parentheses like this and this and this and this, that means multiply. So now I'm going to use my calculator, and I'm going to do 0.05 times 1,500, and I get 75. Remember, that would be dollars. And now I'm going to do 0.10 times 1,500 for Claire, and this would be $150. So who makes more? Claire. And how much more? Well, let's figure it out. 150 minus 75. Most of you guys could do this in your head. It's like having 6 quarters and taking away 3 quarters, and you'd be left with 75. So remember, this is really dollars. Claire would make 75 more dollars. So Claire definitely has a better deal here. I want her rate. I don't want Han's rate if I'm doing this job. Oh. How much more money would they make? We did that. We're all set. That's right here. Don't forget. J. Let's go to J. Who gets paid more in their job? Explain or show your reasoning. Well, we've talked about that. We've kind of shown our reasoning right here and here. So we know Claire makes twice as much because she makes 10 cents per envelope, and Hans only makes 5 cents. And we showed our work for that here and here, okay? Be careful. Make sure that you are understanding what each number in your equation means. Don't get your y's and your x's mixed up, and don't get the extra number in there. You know, when you see like y equals something plus x times x, remember, you want to make sure you know the meaning of these numbers. You want to know what the 1 represents. You want to know what the y is. You want to know what the x is. All right, let's look at number 9, last one for today. Tyler plans to start a lemonade stand and is trying out different recipes for lemonade. He wants to make sure the recipe doesn't use too much lemonade mix, which is lemon juice and sugar, but still tastes good. Recipe 1 is given by the equation y equals 4x, where x represents the cups of lemonade mix and y represents the cups of water. Okay, if Tyler has 16 cups of lemonade mix, how many cups of water would he need for each recipe? Explain how you know. So let's go back to our equation for the first recipe. Y equals 4x. X is the lemonade mix, Y is the water. So he gave us the lemonade mix. So Y is the water, and we're going to figure that out. So Y is our unknown value equals, remember they gave us this 4, and he has 16 cups of lemonade mix. So all we have to do to figure out how many cups of water we need is do 4 times 16. So 4 times 16 is 64. So he's going to need 64 cups of water in recipe 1. Okay? Let's look at recipe 2. Recipe 2, we've got these numbers here, right? So the first thing we have to do is 50 divided by 10 to get our rate of change. And 50 divided by 10 is 5. So that means the equation to go with the table is y equals 5x. And then we just do the same thing. We don't know why. They gave us the 5. We multiply times 16. So that means that in this case, y equals 80. 80 cups of H2O. By doing this workout, we did explain how we know. And you can write down some of the words I'm saying in these videos if that helps you. Absolutely. What is the rate of change for each situation, and what does it mean? Well, the first recipe, they gave it to you. It was 4. And in the second recipe, we figured it out, and it was 5. And this has to do with the ratio. This number, this is the ratio. You know how when you're mixing something or cooking something, you have to have a certain amount of one thing in order to make the other part of the recipe taste good. Well, this is basically telling you that you need 4 times as much water as lemonade mix, or you need 5 times as much water as lemonade mix. So if you're using the 5 times as much, then that's more water. Your lemonade would be less sweet. And if you were using the 4 ratio, you'd have less water and your lemonade would be stronger. So it has to do with the ratio. Finally, M. Tyler has a 5-gallon jug, which holds 80 cups. I see that number here. To use for his lemonade stand, and 16 cups of lemonade mix. Which lemonade recipe should he use? Well, we already figured this out. We know one of the answers is 80 cups. And when I look back at that, I see that we use 16 cups of lemonade mix in that. 16, 80. That's pretty perfect. Therefore, since it comes out so perfectly and gives us exactly what we wanted, I would have to say he should go with recipe 2. It will work out perfectly. So 8th grade, that is it for investigation 1. Don't forget you need 10 Dreambox lessons done by tomorrow, which is Friday. I hope you all continue to be well. I hope your families are well. And I miss you guys. I hope we get back to school soon so we can all be together again. Thanks for listening. Have a fantastic day.